How are you today? I hope you are all fine. Today I will start a new lesson about light. Okay, so before I get started, I want to tell you that we have a different forms of energy, and we know energy, it is the ability to do work or make a change. It is the ability to do work or make a change. And we have a different forms of energy. As we have a different members of our family, we have a different members for energy. Okay, so we have sound energy, we have light energy, magnetic energy, heat energy, electric energy. So they are all forms of energy. Okay, but only one of them that can be seen, which is the light, which is our topic for today. Okay, so light, it is the only form of energy that can be seen. So we will talk specifically today about light. So let's know what is the meaning of light. Okay, light, it is a form of visible energy, or it is a form of energy that can be seen. So visible energy. Okay, so definition of light, it is a visible form of energy, or the word visible, which is mean can be seen, and we call the light energy that can be seen or which is visible, we call it visible spectrum. We call it a visible spectrum. Okay, we have a different sources of light. Okay, we have the main source of light on the earth, which is the sun, and also we call the sun is a one of stars. Okay, so we call it all overall they are the natural source of light. Okay, the natural source of light, which is present in nature, which is God made. Okay, so the main source of energy, which is the sun and stars. We can see the moon at night, at night, shiny in the sky, but we cannot consider the moon is as a form of energy. Why? Because moon uh, does not emit the light from itself, but it reflects the sunlight. And let's know what is the meaning of this word and how the moon reflects the sunlight, and we will know that during this video. Okay. Okay.
Hold this ball in your hands, Tofu, and I'll.
During this video, it will use three tools, which is ball, which represents the earth, and also a torch, which represents something which is shiny, the sun, and also the mirror, which is the moon. Okay, so let's see how can the moon reflect the sunlight. Okay.
Hold this flashlight in my hand. Okay, but what do they represent? The flashlight in my hand represents the sun, the ball in your hand represents the earth, and the mirror on the wall represents the moon. Do you see the mirror shining and that light getting reflected on the ball, Tofu? Yes, this is what happens. The moon just reflects the light of the sun, and what we see is the reflection of that light. Oh! The moon reflects only 7% of the sun.
Okay, and that's all about the video. Okay, and so we talked about the natural sources of light, which is the sun and stars. And if I came and ask you in the exam, give reasons, moon does not considered as a source of light. Uh, Also, we are seeing the moon at night shining because it reflects the sunlight, and we know now that if we have a torch and the screen, which is mirror, and also the pool, and we try to expose the screen to the torch, we will find that the light reflected from the tour from the which is fall on the mirror and then reflect to the pole, and so we can see the ball as a lighted object. Okay, and then we have artificial source that the man can made it, which is the lighted candle, kerosene lamp, and electric lamp. Okay, so we have a three different sources of light, which is artificial, which is mean the man made, like a lighted candle, electric lamp, and kerosene lamp. They can be used in the past, in the very past days. Okay, now we will talk about the different properties of light. If I came and ask you, tell me about the properties of your friends. She's tall, she's fat, she has a brown eyes. So you are telling me about the thing that your friend has. Okay, so about the light, which is the things that specifically light has. The first one, light travels in a straight line. Light transmits, which is the word transmits means passes through different materials, and light reflect back, which is bounce, the light bouncing, light refract, light splats. So travels in a straight line, reflect, refract. The difference between two words, two letters, okay? And light splits or divide, okay? Okay, we are talking theoretically, and let's know how we can apply this theoretical words in a practical life. So we can make an experiment. How we can make an experiment? Okay, here we have a three cardboards. Okay, and in the center of them we will make a hole. Okay, but all of this hole at the same level or horizontally. Okay, so and then from here we can trying to see the through the holes, trying to see what the flame of the candle. Okay, we are trying to see the flame of the candle. Okay, so in this case we will see the flame of the candle. But if we try to move the second one to the right or to left, the second cardboard to the right or to left, we cannot see the lighted candle. Why? Because light travel in a straight line. Light cannot bend, cannot travel in a zigzag line or in a curved line. No, but it can only travel in a straight line. Okay, let's see an experiment in this video.
Coming in through your window early on stands.
As we are seeing in this is the three cardboards, and we are making a hole in the center in the same level or horizontally. Okay, we will have a lighted candle in the other side.
Try to look at the
If we are trying to look at the hole, so we
Now
can
try to
see
look
the
at the
flame.
candle through the hole in the last cardboard. Can you see it? It is only visible when the eye, the holes, and the candle are in a straight line.
So here we can see the flame of the candle clearly. Okay,
Try moving one of the cardboard pieces to one side of the
so in another case, if we are trying to move the cardboard which is present in the center, so we cannot see the flame of the candle,
light, like this.
so which is blocked. Why? Because light travel in a straight line.
The path of light will be interrupted and you won't be able to see the candle. So we know now that light travels along a straight path. Light is a form of energy. One of the characteristics of light is that it travels in a straight line. This is known as the rectilinear propagation of light.
So as we talk, light travels in a straight line, and we made it practically that we have a three cardboards, and when they are all in the same line, so we can see the flame of the candle. But if we are moving the one in the center to the right or to the left, you cannot see the flame of the candle. Why? Because light travels in a straight line. As a result of this, we have two phenomena, which is the formation of image through narrow holes, and also formation of shadow. Okay, in this experiment, we will have a here we have a cardboard. Okay, sorry, cardboard box. We have a box which is made of carton. Okay, our carton box. Okay, and then we will one side of them we will remove one side of them, we will cut one side of them and replace it by semi-transparent paper, which is I can see the object behind it but less clearly. Okay, so if I put the object and then put the semi-transparent paper, you can see the object but not with all the details, which is some details I can see the object with. Okay, and then we will have we have the flame and or the lighted candle, and then we will all trying to move the candle forward and backward until we can see the flame of the candle on the transparent paper. Again, we have a curtain box and we will remove one side of them. Okay, here we can remove this side and replace it with semi-transparent. يبقى here we have a semi-transparent paper, and here we have a hole, and here we have a candle or lighted candle. We try to move it back and forth until we can see the image of the flame in on semi-transparent paper. Okay, so we can see the image of the flame. It will be minimized and inverted, which is mean smaller than usual, and inverted, which is mean upside down. The thing which supposed to be in the up, it will be down. Okay, which is formed on a semi-transparent paper. So conclusion, light travels in a straight line. Okay, and this is the idea of camera. Okay, so formation of the image through narrow holes, and this is an experiment which is explain this idea. And let's see the video. Okay,
Formation of images through narrow holes or pinholes. The idea of photographic camera is based on the idea of formation of images through narrow holes due to traveling of light in straight lines. This activity to prove that formation of images through narrow holes or pinholes is due to traveling of light in straight lines. Steps: remove one side of a carton box and replace it with a piece of a semi-transparent paper. Make a small hole in the opposite side of the semi-transparent paper. Darken the room, then put a lighted candle in front of the hole at a certain distance and look at the semi-transparent paper. Move the candle forward or backward until you see a clear picture of the candle flame on the semi-transparent paper. Observation: a minimized and inverted image of the candle flame is formed on the semi-transparent paper. Conclusion: formation of images through narrow holes or pinholes is due to traveling of light in straight lines.
okay, as I said, this is the idea of camera, of making camera. Okay, so and we saw a video which is explain this idea. Okay, let's move on to another point. And we said that as a result of traveling of light in a straight line, we have two phenomena. The first one, that formation of the image through narrow holes, and the second one, formation of a shadow. Okay, formation of shadow happen. Why? Okay, we know that there is and we will know more details about it, that there are materials allow light to pass through it, and there are other materials does not allow light to pass through it. Okay, and because of the objects or the materials which is does not allow light to pass through it, the shadow is also happen. Okay, if we have an object between the wall and the source of light, we will notice that the shadow will form it like behind the object. Why? Because light cannot pass through that object, and we call this object opaque again. So, if we let's see it, if we darken the room and put your hand between the wall and the light source, we will see a darkened area is formed on the wall. Why? And this happen because light travels in a straight line, and also because of the using of my hand, which is an opaque materials. Okay, and let's see this video which is explain more the meaning of shadow.
Light to pass through them. Second, transparent objects allow light to pass through them and we can see through them clearly. And third, translucent objects allow light to pass through them partially. Now I want you to answer this question. What kind of an object is a human body? Are we able to see through it? Not really. Hence, a human body is an opaque object. What happens when light is obstructed by the human body? We see that the human body is obstructing light here. There is light in front of the human body, but what do you see behind it? Yes, a shadow. This thing you see behind the body is called a shadow. Now, looking at this, can you tell me the things that are required for a shadow to be formed? Two things are obvious. First, a source of light, which is in front of the body. And second, an opaque object. Here, the human body is the opaque object. Can you identify any other thing we may need for a shadow? Maybe not. Now let's consider a different situation. In this situation too, we have a source of light as well as an opaque body. But do we see a shadow? No, we don't. Do you know why? Perplexed? Well, had there been a screen behind the opaque object, you would have seen the shadow on it. But because there is no screen or surface like in the previous case, we cannot see the shadow. What does this tell us? A surface on which a shadow can.
Okay, so if we want to see the shadow, you should or you should need a screen, or we should need a wall, and also source of light and opaque object. If one of them is missed, so you cannot see the shadow.
Be formed. That surface will make us see the shadow. What's so special about shadows? Shadows also give us some information about the object. So if I show you this shadow, you will be able to tell me that it's a human body shadow. But sometimes they can also be misleading. For instance, can you name the body of which this is a shadow? You'd probably say it's that of a dog, but it's just our human hands playing the trick. Has it ever occurred to you as to why shadows are formed? We know one of the reasons. Opaque bodies do not allow light to pass through them. Yes, that's one of the main reasons why shadows are formed. Another important reason for shadows to form is that light travels in a straight line. We will see its use in our next lesson.
As we know during this video that we have the type of object which is opaque, which is does not allow light to pass through them, and this is one of the reasons which is causing the formation of shadow, which led to formation of shadow, okay, and also traveling of light in a straight line. And we have two factors. So the shadow can be formed. We should have a screen, or we should have a wall, and also we have the object and the source of light. Okay, so the shadow can be formed. Okay, so the meaning of shadow is very important, and it is repeated also in the exam. So it is a darkened area formed as a result of light, of falling of light on an opaque object. And I said before, opaque object, which is mean that does not allow light to pass through them. Okay, and we have two cases. If we are approach the source of light to the object, so we will see the bigger shadow. But if we put the source of light away from the objects, so we'll see the smaller shadow. Okay, so the nearer the object to the source of light, the bigger the shadow will be, and the further the object to the light source, the smaller the shadow will be. Okay, again, so the shadow, it is a darkened area which is formed as a result of falling the light on an opaque object. And then we will talk like in details about the different types of materials. We have a transparent and semi-transparent and opaque object. Okay, and let's know about them clearly during this video.
Can you see something in a completely dark room? Not really. The reason is you need light to see the objects. And what we will learn in this session is the concept of light. Now let's slowly lighten this room. Why are we now able to see the objects in the room? The reason is that now light reaches us from these objects. Light from the source falls on the objects and travels to our eye. Light helps us see objects. Do you know what the source of light is called? Objects like the sun or the tube light or the torch are called luminous objects. Can we now see the objects outside the window? Nope, we can't. But the question is why? It's easy. Because the light from the outside of the window does not reach us. The wooden shutter blocks this incoming light. Such objects are called opaque objects, and they are very large in number. Almost everything around us is opaque if you think about it. Wood, metal, sheets, colored plastic, and so on. Now let's open the wooden shutters. Can you see something new? Yes, we see the surroundings through the glass. And I'm sure you know why. What has happened now is that we have a clear glass which allows light to pass through it, allowing us to see through it clearly. Such objects are called transparent objects. Earlier, the wooden shutter was opaque, and the opaque objects do not allow light to pass through them. Now look at this shelf which has a milky glass. Are we able to see what's inside? Well, we can't see the things clearly, but you do see something, right? You can probably books are kept inside. Yes, milky glass allows light to pass through it, but only partially, and one can see some light coming through it. What is the difference between the two? While the objects like clear glass are called transparent objects, the objects which allow light to pass through it partially are called as translucent. We can easily think of examples of opaque objects. But can you think of other transparent or translucent objects? Yes, clean water, glass, clear plastic bottles, and air are all examples of transparent objects. Can you think of examples of translucent objects? Yes, butter, paper, thin sheet of plastic, milky glass are a few examples of translucent objects. In the next video, we will learn an interesting concept of
As we saw in the video, we have a different types of materials, which is different in their allowing of light to pass through them. Okay, so the first one we call it transparent, which is allow most of light to pass through them. Okay, and the object, if we put the object behind them, we can see the object with full details. Okay, which is can see it clearly, like what, like clear glass, like air, like clear water, and etc. Okay, so again, so transparent materials which is allow light to pass through them. Then we have semi-transparent, and the next word for that, for it, we call it translucent, which is allow some light to pass through them, which is allow a light but through them partially, and the object behind it cannot be seen clearly. So the object can be seen less clearly. Okay, like what? Like a frosted light bulb, like the milky glass in the video, and also tissue paper. Then we have opaque materials, which is like our body. Okay, does not allow light to pass through them, and it's also led to formation of shadow. Okay, we cannot see the object behind it clearly, like wood, rock, book, people, and anything that you cannot see the object behind it, we call it opaque. And here we have an like an experiment. We have three sheets. One of them is transparent, like in the first page. The second one will be semi-transparent. The last one we opaque. Okay, so in the first one we can see the image clearly. Okay, the second one we can see the image less clearly, and the last one we cannot see the image behind the opaque sheet. Okay, again, so what is the meaning of transparent? The materials which is allow most of light to pass through, and we can see the object clearly through them. Translucence allow some light to pass through, and we can see the object less clearly through them. Opaque materials do not allow light to pass through, and we cannot see the object through them. So we talk about the first properties, which is light travels in a straight line, and then we talk about the transmission of light, or light transmits or passes through different materials. And the last or the third one will be the light reflection, which is mean why do we see the objects around us? It does not because of our eyes, because but if this we can see in the dark, but we cannot see in the dark. So we are seeing the object because of light, and specifically because of light reflection, which is mean that the light falls or strike the object and then reflect or return back to our eyes, so we can see the object. So let's see it during this video.
How do we see things around us? You will probably say it's the eyes that help us to see the objects around us. But will our eyes be able to see these objects in dark? No, we need light to see things. Without light, we cannot see the objects. But where is this light coming from? This light is coming from this source, which is a fluorescent bulb. You see that this bulb is emitting its own light. The objects which emit their own light are called luminous objects. Can you give me any other examples? Incandescent light bulb, the sun, the stars are also luminous objects. What about objects such as this table and chair? Do they emit their own light? No, these objects do not emit their own light. Such objects are called non-luminous. Almost everything around us is non-luminous. Objects made up of wood, plastic, cotton, metal are all non-luminous. What about the moon and the planets? They are also non-luminous. But if the moon is non-luminous, then how come we're able to see it at night? The answer to this is reflection of light. The reason we're able to see any non-luminous objects around us is because of the reflection of light. Reflection of light can simply be referred to as change in direction of light or bouncing of light from some surface. Just like the ball bounces from the ground, light reflects off from a smooth surface. Let me try to explain this in a simple way. The light from the source strikes the object and bounces off from its surface. And when this light reaches our eyes, we see that object. And this is how we see non-luminous objects. When the object is kept in front of the mirror, its image is formed in it. But will we be able to see the image in the dark? No, we won't. So the formation of the image is also due to reflection of light. Let this object be our human body, so at the same time, we are looking at the image. First tell me, is our body a luminous or a non-luminous object? Well, it's non-luminous. Human body cannot emit its own light. So the light from the source is first incident on the human body. It gets reflected from it, and this reflected light strikes the mirror. This light is further reflected from the surface of the mirror and reaches our eyes. This is how we are able to see our image. Now, obviously, this is not the exact picture of the happenings. I just wanted to give you the intuitive feeling into how this happens. There are a lot of subtleties involved which we will learn in our higher grades.
Okay, and that's all about the reflection of light and why do we are seeing the object which is non-luminous object, that the light falls on it, like when you are pushing the ball and then the ball return back to you, light do the same. It falls on the object and then it reflects again to our eyes so we can see the object. So if you are standing in front of the mirror, you can see your image, and when light falls on an object, it reflects to our eyes so we can see the object. And when the reflected light reaches to our eyes directly, we call it a regular reflection. Regular reflection, which is mean the light reflect in a one direction. And also it happens in the surface like the mirror, which is smooth and shiny. Okay, so regular reflection, it is reflection in general, it is the returning back of light when it falls on a reflecting surface. Okay, but the regular reflection, it's happen when the surface become shiny and smooth. Okay, and its reflection happen in one direction again. So reflection of light, it is a returning back of light rays when the light falls on a reflecting surface. And we should have two things: source of light, which is any source of light like electric lamp. Okay, and we should have a reflecting surface like the mirror. Okay, so regular reflection, it is a reflection of light on a smooth and shiny surface, and light rays are reflected back in one direction like we are seeing in this picture. Okay, example like fall of the light on a mirror or a glass surface, so you can see your image in the mirror or in the glass because light fall on your object and then to the mirror and then return back to our eyes so you can see your image in the mirror. And that's all about light reflection, and then we will continue in the next video.